And gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our guest of honor, Minister for Education, Mr. Chun. Now, he's accompanied by NUS President, Professor Chye, NUS Senior Deputy President and Provost, Professor Teck, and NUS Vice Provost, Master's Programs and Lifelong Education and Dean, School of Continuing and Lifelong Education, Professor Susanna Leong. Now, very good morning to our guest of honor, Minister for Education, Mr. Chun, NUS President, Professor Chye. Okay, let me do that morning salutation once again. A very good morning to our guest of honor, Minister for Education, Mr. Chun, NUS President, Professor Chye, Senior Deputy President and Provost, Professor Teck, Vice Provost, Master's Programs and Lifelong Education, and Dean, School of Continuing and Lifelong Education, Professor Susanna Leong, our audiences here in the auditorium, as well as to those tuning in online. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NUS Lifelong Learning Festival 2022. I'm Haryanto Diman, an NUS alumnus. Now, although I've graduated a few years ago, NUS will always feel like home. And certainly, I'm glad to be back here to be your MC this morning. Now, today's event sees industry experts and leading minds coming together to discuss the trends, in-demand skills, and emerging technologies that are upending our workplace. Now, the focus of today's discussions will be on the future economies that will define Singapore's growth in the coming years, and the job roles and skills that will be needed. Now, what does tomorrow look like for your industry, and how will you thrive in it? Now, these are some questions that will be tackled in this NUS Lifelong Learning Festival 2022. To kickstart today's event, may we invite NUS President, Professor Chye, for his opening address. Professor Tan, please.
Minister for Education, Mr. Chun, distinguished guests, colleagues, alumni, and students. Good morning, and I bid you a warm welcome to the inaugural NUS Lifelong Learning Festival. Some of you may know that University Hall, or U Hall, is the main administrative building of NUS. Now, at the lobby of U Hall, there is a quote by the late Mr. Lee Kong Chian, the first Chancellor of the University of Singapore, inscribed on the walls. And it reads, "A university is not just an object of pride and prestige, nor only an instrument for acquiring knowledge, but also a home in which the human spirit can find freedom and draw inspiration." Now, learners are important stakeholders of NUS, and we are committed to partnering with them in their lifelong learning journey, whether it is to acquire knowledge, learn new skills, or to reskill, to draw inspiration, or to seek new paths. As an educational institution, our doors are open to learners. Skills Future Singapore released a report in 2021 on skills demand in the future economy. The report identified the digital economy, green economy, and care economy as the key growth areas in Singapore. So to expand our local pool of talent and help them thrive in the future workforce, NUS has launched a suite of new continuing education offerings that are relevant to the future economy. For example, the School of Computing launched the Graduate Certificate in Computing Foundations last year. to assist learners who do not have a computing background to acquire basic competencies so that they can pivot into this exciting and lucrative industry. The Infocom Media Development Authority also appointed NUS and Singapore Polytechnic to establish the 5G Academy in November 2020. The 5G Academy trained more than 3,000 Singaporeans and permanent residents in 5G-related technologies last year. NUS has also launched several new master's level programs in sustainability, and these include the Master of Science in Biodiversity Conservation and Nature-Based Climate Solutions, the Master of Science in Sustainable and Green Finance, and a Master of Science in Energy Systems. Now, these programs augment our existing education programs and courses in sustainability and hopefully contribute to the pipeline of talents for the green economy. Now, as Singapore's flagship university, NUS is deeply cognizant of our role in partnering the local workforce to stay relevant, competitive, and also to realize their full potential through education and lifelong learning. NUS will encourage more of our workforce to enroll in lifelong learning programs through new initiatives that will take effect from the next academic year. First, NUS will make our lifelong learning programs more affordable for all learners. From academic year 2023, an automatic 10% tuition fee waiver will be given to every Singaporean and permanent resident enrolling into the Masters by Coursework programs that do not already receive subsidies from the government. NUS alumni will also enjoy an additional 5% tuition fee rebate. We hope that this tuition fee rebate will help NUS offerings more affordable to learners who wish to upgrade to deep skill and to pivot into emerging job roles. Second, NUS will increase the number of places for learners to be admitted to graduate certificate programs. The graduate certificate, which is more bite-sized than a master's program, allows learners to acquire state-of-the-art, in-demand knowledge and skills for upskilling and reskilling. Many of our graduate certificates are SSG funded. We will increase our offerings in these micro-credentials and offer more seats to learners on this pathway. Additionally, all learners who excel in these graduate certificate programs will be considered for admission into associated master's programs. And this includes highly sought-after programs like the Masters of Science in Digital Financial Technology, Master of Computing General Track, and a Master of Science in Industry 4.0. There will also be added flexibility for current master's students to obtain a graduate certificate. They may return in future to NUS to complete their studies. So this is stacking. NUS will continue to improve on the pathways and flexibility of our programs to encourage more learners to embark on courses which will help them advance their personal and professional lives. We take our commitment to lifelong learning very seriously. A four-year undergraduate program no longer marks the end of learning. As continuous learning and upgrading of skills has become a necessity in a rapidly evolving economy and society. Historically, every past technology revolution ultimately created more jobs than it destroyed and delivered important gains for humanity, from higher living standards and life expectancy to productivity and economic growth. Undeniably, the rewards were distributed differently. Those who were able to adapt and seize opportunities benefited much more. At NUS, we desire for our learners to rise up to the challenges and to write the opportunities that this fourth industrial revolution offers. So that is why back in 2018, NUS made a pivotal shift to integrate lifelong learning into our educational model and mindset. In the undergraduate curriculum, NUS seeks to lay a strong intellectual foundation and disposition for lifelong learning through a carefully curated common curriculum. For our alumni and the Singapore workforce, NUS offers a range of courses to empower adult learners to fulfill their career aspirations, make job pivots into emerging areas, and also to pursue new interests and avenues. We are also working hard to equip our administrative staff with skills to navigate the changing work landscape. Now, the effects of the pandemic have demonstrated the need for us to be agile in pivoting to different ways of working. We need to continually develop new and emerging skills to be efficient and relevant for the workplace. Over the last 2 years, NUS has rolled out university-wide skills upgrading programs like the Data Literacy Program and the Artificial Intelligence Competency course for our administrative staff. And they number more than 4,000. Now, a Skills Transformation Fund account was also set up for all our admin staff with yearly top-ups being made. Now, all these underscore the university's commitment to prepare our staff to be future-ready and empowers them to take charge of their lifelong learning. So I'm pleased to share that NUS administrative staff can also look forward to a new scheme with full tuition waivers sponsored by NUS to offer higher degrees within NUS. So details of these will be announced soon. Now, we are scaling continuing education options and supporting structures to partner all learners in their career journeys. The enhanced Career Plus app that we will be showcasing later is a tool that will empower and provide guidance to all our learners in their career journeys. We are also working with our government and industry leaders to imagine and refine new delivery solutions together so that continuing education that NUS deliver is effective and of high quality. Before I end, I would like to say that learning can be deliberate. It can also be serendipitous. Learning can occur through a lecture or through a conversation over coffee. This lifelong learning festival provides a unique space and opportunity for all learners. Some of you are here with the intent of acquiring knowledge from a specific master class this afternoon. Others are here to explore and draw inspiration from the discussion and sociality. Either way, I hope this forum sparks a curiosity and cultivates a new connection that starts you on a new learning journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tan. May we invite Professor to take his seat, please. May we now invite our guest of honor, Minister for Education, Mr. Chun Sing, to say a few words. Minister, please.
Chye and the NUS family, guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you, both here with us physically and online. Let me first thank NUS for organizing the inaugural Lifelong Learning Festival, and also thank NUS for announcing the suite of measures that Chye has just shared to encourage both the NUS alumni and the Singapore general public to take on to have more opportunities to learn throughout life. This festival is part of our ongoing Skills Future Festival to promote and support lifelong learning. As the MC say, today I only have two short messages. First, the roles of our autonomous universities or AUs have evolved and must now include lifelong learning in our mission. And I'll explain why this is significant. So first, the role of our universities have evolved and must include lifelong learning as part of their missions. Second, the ways which we organize ourselves for lifelong learning must also then evolve. Let me now explain these two short messages. First, conventionally, the mission of our AUs include research and teaching to prepare students for the job markets. These two roles, research and teaching, remain relevant and necessary. However, as the leading research institutions and the brain trust of our society, all our AUs must also take on the role of institutions of continual learning, providing opportunities for our workforce to upgrade and stay relevant. The AU must also partner our industries to help them transform. The tighter our research, innovation, and enterprise loop, the more competitive we become. So we expect three roles from our universities: research, teaching, and lifelong learning. And for our suite of 6 universities in Singapore, all of them will play different parts and have different weightage in these 3 roles. But we expect all of them to play some roles in all these 3 aspects. During the recent International Academic Advisory Panel, IAAP, hosted by SM Taman, with participation from leaders of many leading universities around the world, this role that universities have to play in the lifelong learning landscape has been affirmed by all participants. The question was never about whether the universities should be involved in lifelong education. Nobody questioned it. Instead, the questions were how to do it well, and do it in a timely manner. In Singapore, we are adopting the perspective where we do not just invest in the first 15 years of an individual's formal schooling, but we must also invest in the next 50 years of his working life. This shift is well underway. The number of adult learners trained by our Institute of Higher Learnings has more than doubled from around 165,000 in 2018 to 345,000 in 2020. Significantly, NUS has graduated 7,000 undergraduates and 5,500 postgraduates this year. We can all imagine the trajectory of these two numbers. One is likely to remain stable or fall slightly with the cohort size. Another is likely to continue to rise further. No prizes for guessing which trend refers to which. No prizes. But there's certainly a penalty if we get it wrong. So we need to do more, and we need to think about how we can do more and do better. So let me now touch on the second issue of how and what we need to do and do better. The many degrees, post-degree programs that the AUs are offering for our adult learners are good, necessary, but not sufficient. And we will need to think of doing more and better in the following ways. First, we must continue to curate more modules to meet the needs of our adult learners to keep pace with industry transformation. Now, this requires the academia and the industry to tighten our knowledge cycle between frontier industry practices and adult lifelong learning pedagogies and andragogies. The institutions cannot do this alone. The industries also cannot do this alone. We will need our industries, trade associations, and professional bodies to articulate and to aggregate their demand for new skills, for us then to activate the supply of new training by our institutions, including our AUs. There is still a gap, quite a significant gap, in our offerings versus what our industries need, both in terms of the range and diversity of courses required, and also the speed which we are required to deliver this. So first, we need to expand our offerings and the timeliness, and to improve the timeliness of our offering. We need to shorten the cycle from the time the demand is aggregated to the time the supply is activated and the training is completed. And in today's fast-paced world, this loop needs to be completed in months and not years. Second, we have to move beyond conventional full qualifications such as diplomas and degrees and post-degree programs. We are already expanding our part-time courses and work-study programs, but we need to complement this with a more modular approach to deliver bite-sized, just-in-time modules, or what we call micro-credentials. But to achieve this, we need a mindset shift on the parts of the individual, the industry, and our institutions. For the individuals, we must appreciate the value of such modules beyond the longer form diplomas and degrees of the past that we are used to. For the industry, we must also accept such micro-credentials as part of the new skills landscape. And we're just chatting with LinkedIn before coming in. The ability to articulate the specific skills required will be much more important than just trying to use a generic diploma or degree as a proxy of one's general capabilities. Our industries will need to acquire the skill sets to articulate such new demands sharper and in a more timely manner. And our institutions must then also redesign our curriculum and delivery methods to allow our adult learners to not only return to school, but to always have the school in our pockets. And we need to combine the best of both worlds, of physical interactions and a hybrid format where people can acquire knowledge virtually anytime, any place, on any topic. Third, we must also appreciate the individual's desire for some form of conventional diplomas and degrees as a milestone of their own personal accomplishment at some point in time. This is particularly so for Asian societies. Then this requires us to make our modules much more stackable. This requires us to reimagine our overall system where we can stack modules not just within an institution like NUS, but even across different institutions. And we will need to work on this. Our 6 AUs, 5 polytechnics, and ITE must compete as a system like Boston, where there is cross-recognition of each other's modules. There are opportunities for our students and adult learners to take modules across different institutions. So our institutions must work together to complement one another's modules. These are new ways that we must reimagine our own training system as one integrated training system. If Boston can do it, Singapore must be able to do so as well. Now, this vision that I described is achievable. In fact, it has already started for our undergrad level today. Under the Singapore University Student Exchange Program, NUS, NTU, SMU, SUSS, SUTD have a reciprocal arrangement to offer student exchange programs. Under this agreement, an undergraduate student at an AU can study and experience students' life at another AU for up to a semester during the 4 years of undergrad education. But we can extend this and imagine one day where our adult learners can pick and choose their modules across all our institutions and stack them if they want to do so. Our competition is not with one another. Our AUs, polytechnics, and ITE are not competing with one another, but we are all competing against the wider global lifelong learning market that offers a plethora of courses and modules. Our lifelong learners are not constrained by just the offerings in Singapore. In fact, some of the best offerings from across the world, from the MITs of the world to the European leading universities, and many more, are offering such modules not just to their domestic, local learners, but across the entire world. So we need to up our game. So as our universities grow into institutes of continuous learning, it is also heartening to see them partnering their alumni and industry in this journey. Just now, Chye has shared that the doors of continual learning in NUS will always be open to all learners, including its alumni. I'd like to commend and affirm NUS for taking the leadership in this, for taking a proactive approach to encourage its alumni and the wider Singapore ecosystem to embark on this lifelong journey. Graduates can and will naturally approach their alma mater as a first port of call whenever they need skills upgrading over the course of their careers. The lifelong learning benefits that NUS President announced earlier will serve to strengthen this relationship that NUS has with its alumni, as NUS enhances its slate of offerings to all adult learners. But this must go beyond NUS. One day, I hope to see all our universities adopting the same approach, maintaining a lifelong relationship with its alumni, be they graduating from our AUs, polytechnics, or ITEs. One day, I hope that all Singaporeans will actively access the opportunities and the training modules offered by our integrated team of 6 universities, 5 polytechnics, and ITE. That they can pick and choose and design their own curriculum towards their own lifelong learning objectives. Finally, I would just like to encourage ourselves to always remember this. The competitiveness of our country and people has never and will never depend on the size of our land or the abundance of our resources. Instead, the competitiveness of Singapore and Singaporeans will always be about the speed of our evolution. Whoever that can organize our lifelong learning system best to complement our early years and foundational school system will win. Whoever that can organize their lifelong learning system to best complement the early years and school foundation will win in the next lap of global competition. So if any country or any system that can do this well, Singapore must be one of them. So let us work together, re-envision how we're going to provide that support for our entire population to upskill, to reskill at scale. Our challenge is never just about producing a cohort of 30 to 40,000 graduates a year from our Institute of Higher Learning. It is that plus reskilling 500,000 or more adult learners every year to keep pace with the competition. And with the help of institutions like our AUs and the industry partners, I have every confidence we will get there. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you, Minister. May we invite Minister to take his seat, please. Now, our next segment for today's event, Professor Tan has alluded to it earlier on, is the Career Plus app. Now, allow me to share a bit more about this app. Launched in 2018, the Career Plus app is an AI-powered learning and career development tool exclusive to NUS students and alumni. And now the app has been refreshed with new professional insights curated based on the 3 key pillars of growth identified by Skills Future Singapore: the digital economy, green economy, and care economy. Now, these insights help alumni identify in-demand job roles in emerging economies, the skill sets needed to take on these roles, and the training available to build up competencies for such roles. And to tell us more about these new features, may we invite NUS Senior Deputy President and Provost, Professor Ho Teck. Professor Ho, please.
Okay, good. So I just want to actually start by saying that the Career Plus app was launched 3 years ago to our PET learners, our undergraduate. And it was a way to get everybody prepared for their job. Even after the first year, they take courses, then they get ready for the job. Let's go to the first slide, please. Oh, I click, sorry. Okay, so if you look at this Career Plus app, there are 3 sources of input. First input is job posting by the employers. So the Career Plus app will crawl all the job listing posted globally. They actually accumulated over the years more than a billion posting. So the kind of recent one will be millions of posting. So those, based on the job description, they'll pass out the skills that is required for a particular job. That's the first source of input. And that's a very powerful source of input that we have. Second is actually the CET providers, NUS. Everywhere in the Singapore market, all the CET courses provided, private providers, other IHL, the course listing, again, will describe the courses, what courses they'll be teaching, and what skill they'll be teaching. We pass out the skill set. And the last group of people are individual, like you and I. We all work in a particular company. We have a little kind of CV. We have courses that we have taken. So those, again, will provide another source of input. And the platform actually will do very powerful thing. For example, let's say myself, I've been a data scientist for a while, and I want to upgrade myself to a different, let's say, principal data scientist. How do I go about doing it? So they will literally actually look at principal data scientists, all the job posting. Some of them are not great, some of them are very good. So those, they pass out the skill set that we have. And then we actually look at my CV, I posted out what kind of project I've done. They will know, oh, my gap is there. So they actually create skill gap that way. So and then they recommend courses for me to take. That's the whole point. And again, it is an aggregation platform in some way. The job posting view actually a very powerful source of information on one thing. Minister actually talked about skill evolution. For example, data scientist 10 years ago and now it's quite different. Now probably you require Python. In the past you might not did it, you did SAS or whatever, right? So again, those will be reflected in the job specification. Same thing on the supply side. Let's say NUS was a bit slow in providing skill set. Guess what? It will be reflected. The courses you are teaching doesn't meet the gap. Right away, we have to adjust our catalog and provide the skill set that is needed for the job market. And individual will know too. We're going to give you 3 use cases, but I want to say the platform has been used by quite a lot of companies, especially the banks, DBS, OCBC, and NUS is using for internal training as well. Let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to give you 3 use cases. I hope that the first use case is the most popular one. Somebody is not looking for job hoppings or going to a new job. It's just want to make sure that they are happy with their current job. They want to be competitive in their current job. We call it upskilling. And then second group of people who's actually a little more ambitious. They want to get paid more. They want to get upgraded. They want to actually get a new job, better title. So there'll be deep skilling. A good example would be data analyst to a data scientist, right? The first one, we're going to actually have somebody who is in the facility, premises and facility management, and they're happy with the current role. The last one is actually a biggest pain point for us. It's people who are maybe trained, have been in the job for 10, 20 years, and was laid off recently. And they want to pivot to a new economy. But it doesn't mean that when you are pivoting, whatever you learned in the past is totally useless. It's not true. Many times, a lot of adjacent job that is available for you, it could be actually the skills that are quite transferable. Let me go to the first one first. Upskill. It's actually, these are all real data from our alumni. So I'm going to anonymize it a little bit. Let's go to the first use case. So Ms. Yap, she had been in the, I call it the green sectors, premise and facility manager. She's 30-year-old, and she's quite happy with her job. But how does she know she's ready for the job of the future for the same role? So right away, we have a source of input from actually job posting for facility and premise manager. And there'll be new company coming out looking for certain skill set, for example, IoT, for example. There'll be those things, and she herself will have to actually keep up to date and so on. So let's actually show you how to onboard a simple apps like this. Go ahead, show the apps. So this is the real app, and we have to log in. I'm always worried about it doesn't work, so hopefully it works. It doesn't work, I have to tell jokes to all you guys. It will be kind of hard for me to do a 20-minute joke, but okay, get started. So it's uploaded. There's no picture because actually, first thing they will look for, what's my current role? So she would type in, that's her current role. She's a facility actually, and this premise officers, and let's upload her CV. If she was actually, she is an alumni, actually all the courses she has taken in the past will be in the system. So I know what skill set she has acquired. Obviously, she can then look at the skill set that we have, go down. And for example, you can update this. Let's say you have worked for 4 years. You can add a skill set that you acquire but not in the CV or in the course that you have taken. You can add on if you want to. Another case, you got an A for your course, right? You've forgotten everything there, you give back to the teacher. You also can remove it if you want to. It's obviously possible. And then you actually, now you look at the skill set, you can then see your functional skill, your domain skill, requirements. All this will be, looks good to you, looks good to me. Let's go on. And go back to the home page on the thing. You will look at the skill gap right away. Next. Right away, you look at the skill to learn is 13. You saw that. Acquired skill is 9. And they even right away recommend courses for you to take. You saw that. And they also, in case you are not sure about staying the same, they also recommend job for you if you want to. And for this particular case, she wants to stay in the current role. I'm not going to actually look for a new role. So she wants to stay in the current role. Let's look at the skills gap that she has. So these are the skills gap that current skill. Go to the skill gap, that skill to learn. Let's acquire skill to learn. Click on skill to learn, actually. Let's click on IoT. Search the courses you have. Actually, I have to say the courses were all from our skill courses, but also crawl the website from all the listing out there, including go all the way up to Republic Polytechnic. So we are really don't care where the CET provider, even though we prefer you take NUS courses, but no. If you prefer to take other courses, we are fine. Obviously, we'd like to open up to NTU, SMU, and CTD, but obviously this is the course that you can take. And guess what? Once you take this course, your IoT will be checked, acquired skill. You'll be go back to skill gap from 9 to 8. That's the whole point, right? So that's the basic logic behind this. And this actually, I'm hoping this accounts for 70% of the population. People who are perfectly happy with their role, and they want to actually stay competitive. That's what they do. Let's go to the second use case. Go to the second use case. This is Mr. Teo, 35 years old, data analyst, and aspiring to be a data scientist. So let's go to the website, go to this particular person, Mr. Teo. Okay, so you can see that this is actually, skill to learn is actually 8 for this. Let's go to the job interest. Go back to job interest. You can see all the job posting coming out. Okay, edit job interest. They want to stay to be a data scientist. Let's go to data scientist. So they are looking for data scientists. Okay, this is the role that we have. Pick that. And then you can see right away your skill gap go up dramatically because just now was a small number. Now it's very big. Because you're upgrading your role from a data analyst to a data scientist, they expect a lot more role. And again, the skill sets are all available in the website. I have to admit that not all the job spec is well defined. It's okay. But we're crawling millions of listings. After a while, we see a pattern, right? So those are really, as long as we have a subset of job posting are reasonable, you should be able to tease out the skill set quite easily and from natural language processing. So right away, you see the courses to be taken. Let's view the courses to be taken. Go down, actually, let's say we do deep learning, which is an important topic in data scientists. Search for courses. Again, you can see all the courses to be listed. And it's modular. We are not actually showing the MSc courses for a one-year program. This is a one-week program you can take, and right away you'll be ready. Go bring it down actually a little bit. See all the courses. Our school of computing will offer a lot of courses, obviously. Even Yong Lin, Republic Poly, and so on and so forth. So these are all courses in the ecosystem. Obviously, for this platform to work, I mean, by the way, we're going to launch to all the alumni. Everybody can download it. The PET learner, about 13,000 users, they are actually find it very useful for looking for a new job. And ultimately, if this is going to be a real platform, has to be, what Minister said, every learner will use this platform. Every CT course offering will be on this platform. Every individual will download the app, put their CV up, and add course skill that they have and don't have. And right away, they'll be recommended for courses to take, a bit like Amazon. When you exit, they will recommend things for you to buy, right? It's the same concept, except this one will be subsidized by SSG. So that's the only big difference. But you don't have to pay everything yourself. So that's the second part. Let's go to the last one. We go to the very last one. So this is actually a very difficult one. I have to say, in Chye, the last use case, the deep risk in this case. So this person actually was trained as a mechanical engineer. The background was this person had been in quality, health, and safety and environment manager in the oil and gas, and was retrenched and looking to pivot to being a health service manager. Just the background. Let's go back, go to the apps. So you can see that they have to look for the new role. Let's look at the popular job. How about we look at the popular job for now? Let's look at the popular jobs out there. You can see these are all the popular jobs listed in the actually job posting. This person actually chose health services manager. And I'll tell you why. Because what you learn in quality, safety, and health manager, the skill set you have actually can be transferable to a health service manager. So if you look at this person wants to be, actually his acquires is 67 already. And he's left with 25 to go. It's not totally, I always tell people, it's not totally useless in the sense that whatever you learned in the past could go to an adjacent job that is relevant for the previous job. You bring it to the new job, right? So in this case, let's look at recommended courses that you can take. Let's go. So this one actually, they have to go, let's go to healthcare system, which is actually quite, Singapore has a different healthcare. Let's go to healthcare system. What courses are being offered? Again, there are a lot of courses being offered. So that's the idea. So I'm going to come back to this and pose this question to all of you. If you look at this platform, actually there are a lot of analysis you can do as a data scientist. First, if I want to know, if everybody on this platform, I want to know how many people are really, it's a big skill gap to be closed. Right away I can figure it out. If all of you guys on this platform, I can right away know who is really behind, who is really not so behind, right? That's the first thing we can learn. Second, we can look at a new skill set is being emerging in the different industry. Banking could be doing fintech, a lot of looking for certain things, and we can know what's happening. And by going sector by sector, we can really figure out what the skill, emerging skill that is required. And also, MOE can hold all the IHL accountable by all the CET catalog. Is it relevant or not? Is it closing a skill gap? It's very easy to figure out. I didn't want minister to do that, obviously, but it's okay. We will hold ourselves accountable for that too. So come back to this. So I just want actually all our alumni to use this platform. We had done it for PET, have been quite successful. And we hope that this platform will allow you to actually be engaged back to the university in a kind of meaningful way. Hopefully our CET courses, if it's not relevant, let us know. We'll change it, we'll fix it, make it relevant. And the goal is for every course to close some skill gap that we're already there. It's all market-driven data. It's not we've made up the data. It's totally from the market. It's true that the market might be lagging, but as long as actually, that's why I think what Frank is going to propose is share is very, very good, because for LinkedIn, there's another source of data we could easily use too. Let me just pause here and thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ho. May we invite you to take your seat? I'm definitely going to check out the app, and I will take up your advice that is to only choose the NUS courses. Is that right? Or at least prioritize the NUS courses. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will now go for a short break before we start the panel discussion next. We'll see you back here very shortly. Thank you.